This is Kim Guzman, and at my website, CrochetKim.com, I have a spider lace baby Afghan, which has been chosen for a crochet along, and I am going to demonstrate how to do the lace stitch pattern for that. I'm using a DK weight yarn, Plymouth Encore DK. I'm using a K double-ended hook on each side in 6.5 millimeters. I have pulled up 15 loops to do a small test piece, and the pattern does require an odd number of loops. With this finer weight yarn and a K hook, it's going to be lacier than it would be for a baby Afghan. This will demonstrate how to change the look of the stitch pattern. If you want something less lacy, like for a baby Afghan, that little toes won't poke through, then you can use the K hook and a larger weight yarn. This is just DK for to be able to see on the video. And I've pulled up 15 loops. Now with double-ended, you work with 2 balls of yarn. You see I've picked up the loops with the blue. Now when the hook is loaded with loops, and only at that point, you push them to the other side, to the other hook, and you turn your work. And at this point I'm going to start working with a new color. And I have a new color here, and you can either make a slip knot on your hook and pull it through, or I just like to pull through one and just tie it off later. Now I'm going to close. The foundation row is a typical closing. I've already done my chain 1. Now I'm going to begin closing through 2 loops all the way across. Just pull through 2 loops, just a normal closing all the way across until you have 1 loop on your hook. 2 loops all the way across. Continue moving on until you get all the way to 1 loop remaining, and it'll be of this white. And continue pulling across, and I have 1 loop remaining. Now I don't turn or anything at this point. I'm going to continue using the white. You only turn when the hook is loaded. Now I'm going to begin row 2 of the stitch pattern, and what it has me doing is decreases, but you yarn over to begin with, so you're not actually losing any stitches here. Pull through 2, see, now we have 3, yarn over, insert under 2 bars, pull up a loop, yarn over, and do that all the way across. 2, now yarn over, 2 stitches, yarn over, and do that all the way across. Now with double-ended Tunisian, you don't need to worry so much about the last loop on the hook being worked a little differently. With regular Tunisian, yes you do, but with double-ended Tunisian you don't need to worry so much about that. Now again, our hook is loaded, so we turn. Now if you will pay attention to the way you're turning, you can ensure that your yarns don't become tangled. So we're going to start closing. Now the row 2 closing is you start off by closing 1. That's the first chain 1. Now begin with a chain 1, yarn over, and pull through 3. Now take a look here. Don't forget this little guy. This is actually 1, 2, 3. You're pulling through 3. You're closing 2 stitches, but you're pulling through 3 to do that. Chain 1, pull through 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, 1, 2, 3. This is a brand new hook, so it's just really not sliding very well. But I couldn't resist the purple hook. I had to have it, even though I had to special order from the UK in order to get it. It had to be mine. Now we're ready to begin row 3. No turning, only turn when you need to close your loops, when the hook is loaded. Now in this row you're going to be working into these diagonal bars only. This is the yarn over from the previous row, and you're skipping the other stitch. So what you do is you just yarn over and pull up a loop here. Now because you're skipping that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop in the diagonal, only in the diagonal, and yarn over in between. You will end with the same number of loops, so there's no actual decreasing here. And then the last diagonal bar, and do not yarn over for the last stitch. Pull up a loop. Now our hook is loaded. Pay attention to how you're turning your hook so that you don't twist your yarns. And turn it and push it to the other side. And now you will begin closing. Now the row 3 closing is just a normal closing. So chain 1, pull through 1, now pull through 2, just a normal closing here, pull through 2, all the way across until you have 1 loop remaining on your hook. One loop remaining is your goal. Pull through 2, all the way across, and you can see, because I'm using a DK weight yarn, it is lacy. Okay, I've just completed row 3. You see how open that is. Now I'm going to start with the row 2 of the stitch pattern. I just finished row 3. Yarn over, go under 2, yarn over, under 2, and do that all the way across. Pull through those 2, yarn over. This is actually a decrease, but it's okay because we're yarning over to begin with, so there's no decrease in stitches here, even though there's a decreased stitch. Yarn over, 2 stitches. Okay, I'm going to finish this last stitch. Again, yarn over and insert your hook into those 2 loops. Yarn over, pull a loop through. Now I'm going to close this row. So turn your hook, again making sure that you watch where your yarn is going so that you can make sure it's not tangled. I'm going to close. This is a row 2, which has a different closing. Chain 1 for the first. Now for the repeat, chain again and pull through 3 loops. Chain 1, pull through 3 loops. Chain 1, pull through 3, and again, all the way across. Chain 1, pull through 3, and you'll end with one loop on your hook. Now if you only have a double-ended hook like this and you want to do a baby Afghan, you're going to need more space for loops. If you do not have a cable hook, I'm going to do just a few stitches here so that I can show you what to do in the event that you only have this size hook. This is a 14-inch hook. You are not, with double-ended Tunisian crochet, you are not limited by the length of the hook because you can close the stitches anytime you like. I do suggest that you at least practice this stitch pattern before you jump in to do this though. So I'm going to go under that diagonal bar, pull up a loop, yarn over, under, this is a row 3 of the row repeat, and I am just going to go partially across this. Naturally I could fit a lot more loops on a 14-inch hook, but I'm going to just go partially across. Okay, I've gone partial. Now go ahead and flip your hook over and push the loops. Even though you've not finished the entire row, you can do this with double-ended Tunisian. It just takes more concentration. So for the row 3, what we do is just a typical closing, just the normal closing, and you just close over until the last few stitches. You want to leave the last few on there because if you don't, they will get buried in the work. They will just get tugged on, and they will get buried in the work, and then you'll miss stitches. You'll lose them. And then turn it back around. Continue pulling up loops, and you can do this all the way across. You're just working in sections. Oops, we got our yarn over first. Just working in sections across. You are not limited by the length of the hook. You can complete a 6-foot Afghan with only a 6-inch hook if you wanted. Flip it back over. Just do as many loops as will fit on your hook, and then go ahead and close them as you go. You don't have to wait until your hook is completely full before you start closing them. That is one of the benefits of double-ended Tunisian crochet over regular Tunisian crochet. There are other benefits as well. One of them is the stitch patterns. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't curl the way regular Tunisian does. And this stitch pattern is obviously lacy. If you're working with a worsted with a K-hook, for instance, the stitches are going to be more compact, more like this. And this is one of the neat things about double-ended, working with 2 colors. See, this one side is predominantly one color, and then this side is more blue. So now you can grab your pattern, chain out the number you need to chain, and go ahead and get started.